Well, good morning, collective. It's a new week, at least as far as I'm concerned. I start my week off on Sunday, ended off on Saturday as pre-Gregorian calendar. And we're going to go ahead and look into the energy for, well, this week. Although it's a timeless reading, predominantly I pray over, the not only day, but the week in advance to help us to prepare. And if it is, the case, like for some of you where this hasn't started to happen yet, or you may be in the middle of this, as I am, this will be very beneficial to you to help you to guide yourself through all of this. I had, some breakdowns last night, and I want to be honest with all of you because I want to share with you that even though I may have certain revelations, I've gone through a lot of spiritual purging and everything else to get here to this point, I still have my battles daily. And I want to encourage you to stay strong because you are warriors. The meek shall inherit the earth, as Christendom likes to, remind us of. And I truly believe that is true. And I see that again echoed in many of the other faiths. And by being meek, that certainly doesn't mean that you are weak. Two different words altogether. To be kind and loving and forgiving in a world that is cruel and is filled with, wolves in sheep's clothing, they're the cowards. They're the weak ones. But on the other side of that, you have to remember that they're just at a different point in their journey. So we have to be compassionate. We have to, be loving, but that doesn't mean we have to put up with their shit. I mean, even Jesus, Kardikeya, and so many others, Odin himself in the last days, they call it Ragnarok, So there is a version, so-called, of the end times where inevitably the end will come where, if you will, the evil or the negative energies will clash inevitably with the positive energies to regain balance, and a new universe, a new world will be created as a direct result of all of that. The way that I see it, projected in every world faith that I've looked at so far, I'm not saying I'm an expert in all of them, I'm not, but I have read them, and I own those books, although maybe not much longer. I may have to reacquire everything, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for this journey. And again, I will explain all these things at a later date, but what I want to do as well as guide is to encourage. That's what a leader does. Again, I shared with you the 14 leadership traits as they're taught to Marines, and I took them extremely serious and I lived them. And as a result of that, like I said, I ascertained, I achieved, and I fulfilled shoes that were meant for people anywhere between 4 to 5 pay grades above my own. So as a sergeant, I was filling an E9's billet. A sergeant is an E5's billet. So at least 4, pay grades above my own. I marched all the non-commissioned officers in front of the battalion commander. I mean, it's for every single unit, not just mine. Non-commissioned officers, we marched in front of the battalion commander, and I was the acting so-called battalion commander as far as the non-commissioned officers go. I got it, through merit. I didn't get it because of time and grade, even though I would have gotten it within a month after that anyways. I decided I wanted to get it then and there, and, I worked hard to achieve that. And again, I know this sounds boastful, and perhaps it is. I'm just trying to use examples in my personal life, to try to make certain cases so that I'm not just talking out of both sides of my tongue. Okay, but I want to encourage you to be strong. I know it's not easy when there, like I said, are a bunch of, people wearing masks, including people in your own families, those who are closest to you. And I would say that, again, trying to use Christian metaphors to help people to understand, these people a lot of times are deliberately placed that close in your life so that they can test you, so that you can be purged, so to speak. In other words, yeah, you can look at it as being evil, and I understand that, and certainly there are aspects of truth to that, but at the same time, those things were more or less contracted as part of your journey so that you can learn, so that you can, choose to grow as a result of those conflicts and those tests. So we all have those things in our life. There's no escaping it until you have learned all the lessons you need to learn and become, at least for lack of a better way of putting it, what is termed in spirituality as a ascended master. Then, you're always going to have some form of karma to work off, some lesson to learn. So with that being said, and I don't want to be preachy or anything like that. I'm just trying to share with you what 65 years of my experience have led me to believe. Now, I could be wrong, and I look to everybody that's out there as well as my daily, if you will, experiences to help me to learn, because I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to improve. And I certainly have changed my mind about things, as I can't even speak today, as I get more and more information. And that's what each and every one of us need to do. That doesn't mean being wishy-washy in our convictions and so on. It means that once a body of evidence has come in and you've proven it to be so to the best of your abilities, accept it. That shows a sign of maturity that few people seem to have in today's world, where everybody's more or less acting as automatons or sheep, for lack of a better way. And I know that's kind of a negative connotation, but it is. But the same token, where the shoe fits, wear it, that kind of a thing. And I've already given you an analogy in the past about sheep herders. And although the sheep herders look down on their flock and everything else, the reality of that situation is they're actually more evolved in some ways than the actual sheep herders, as the sheep require a sheepdog to get them back into rank and file, into the will of the herders, whereas human beings do it to themselves, do it to others. So we're so concerned about judging one another and being better than everybody else instead of just being the best version of ourselves. And, it's something that I battle with all the time too. I mean, every one of us has a certain level of pride and ego, and part of what we're here to experience is to really overcome the ego and to be the very best version of ourselves. That's not to say not to be proud of who you are and what you were set here and what your gifts are to share with the collective. We have to discover that at the same time. So, to be, I guess you can say, as passive as a sheep, but, to be a lion when it's time to step up to the plate. Jesus himself is coming back as the roaring lion of the tribe of Judah, if you will. Now, again, I use Christian metaphors. That's because I'm more familiarized, and I've literally read that Bible many times through, and I've broken it down verse by verse, word by word, in fact. But that was many, many years ago, and, I've chosen to look at the other world's face so I could actually ascertain the truth about it myself. And I've discovered a lot of things as a result. Now, all right, so we're almost 10 minutes into this. I don't want to yammer on anymore. Let's go ahead and look at the overall energy for the week itself, okay? So I'm going to start off by pulling the overall energy, and then we'll go ahead and look at it day by day. After that, I'll record, publish, and then I'm going to do a Sunday-only reading based on that information. And I'll pull tarot cards and all that as well. All right, so I call upon Odin 9 times in reverence and respect for the 9 days and nights that he hung from the world tree to get the knowledge, the magic, and the power of the universal knowledge contained within the runes. Wooden, 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 wooden. And I share my spirit with my runes that we may accurately bond and that I can accurately give those who are here in my collective a concise, accurate reading for this week. And thank you. So with that being said, may I please get the overall energy for this week. Overall energy for this week, and thank you very much. Okay, overall energy. Dang it. All right, well, not off to a good start apparently. All right, so this is Uruz. I have this actually tattooed on my chest, only this one is in reverse. So, not particularly good way to start things off. So what does Uruz mean in the reverse? Well, Uruz typically means things such as strength, health, vitality, sexual desire, courage. So as you can imagine, just like in tarot, it typically talks about the reversal of those types of things. So a sense of weakness and illness, sickness, having weak will and ignorance, and suffering from lust. Now again, this doesn't mean that this is your energy. This could be somebody that is actually involved or within your energetic field. So that could be a rival, known or unknown, somebody who's very close to you, perhaps somebody within your bloodline, maybe even a spouse or a partner. It's hard to say. It'll be different for each and every one of you out there. I know who this is talking about in my life. I want you to really reflect, pray, go within, meditate, and try to discover whose energy this is that we're picking up in your life, okay? And, well, we'll just move on. All right, so that is the overall energy for the week. That means we have to be very careful and watchful. It could be somebody that's closest to you. And if you are indeed a spiritual warrior in the making, this is your boot camp, just like it is mine. And you have to be willing to see even the things that you don't want to see, okay? Whew, it's starting to get hot already. All right, so what is the energy for Sunday, please? What is the energy for Sunday? Thank you. Thank you for that warning. Overall energy for Sunday. Okay, Dagaz, we pulled this yesterday, only it was the obsidian rune, okay? So Dagaz means day, daybreak, dawn, ambitions. It also talks about transformations and balance and growth. So that's a positive rune. And, you know, again, it reminds us that one of the things that we're supposed to learn in this world, and you'll find it literally in spite of whatever religious belief system that you partake in, is the sense of balancing your masculine with your feminine, your light with your dark, your good with your not so good. I'm not going to call it evil. They're on the very same line, you know, in terms of energy. They're just the two extremes of that singular line. Good, bad, same. Well, on the same line, okay? And this is why in some faiths, they even see that the evil is an aspect, if you will, of the good. Maybe another or the opposite polarity of God, in a sense. I mean, after all, God created everything, most people believe. I do too. And I believe it's beyond our comprehension or ability to explain it, because we can only see things in a three-dimensional perspective. We're talking about an infinite number of, possibilities simultaneously existing. More like a holographic type perspective, where even the smallest element of that hologram embodies the entire energy or, if you will, description of, the larger. So it's hard for us really to describe what that is, but we have a higher self as well. Hey, little guy, what you doing? My little squirrel buddy decided to check up on me. So he's looking for a handout. Go on, you freeloader. All right, so that's the energy for today. Let's go ahead and look at Monday's energy. Monday's energy, please, and thank you. What is the energy for Monday for this week? Okay, the end of June to beginning of July. Thank you. Energy for today. Oh, that's good. This is Thor's rune, Thurisaz, and it's in the upright. Thurisaz. Alright, so what is Thurisaz? Well, Thurisaz, being, Odin's rune, is actually about, what it means is thorn, okay, basically, if it's to be interpreted. Just like the thorns in a rose, right? It's what protects the beauty of the rose itself, those thorns. So it's intimating a form of protection. So you have that aspect of it, protection, disrupting of negative energies or evil. It talks about, again, a sense of desire or sexual. It seems like all the gods are related to this sexual stuff. But like I said, they're more like us than they are from the, typical Judeo-Christian perspective of God, goddess, things like that. Or God, not goddess. Although goddess, I do believe in. So that's another thing altogether. All right, so basically it's a very powerful rune. In fact, it's considered to be one of the most powerful in the runic deck. So as a result of that, you can use that to ward off evil. You can make, instead of a circle, a square, and you're going to have Thurisaz at each side of that square, all four sides of it. And that basically is like casting a circle to protect you during incantations and stuff like that for the darker magicians who like to play with demons and stuff like that. They're not very smart. It's not very smart. I mean, you're dealing with things that are, just by association, they're liars, so what you think you're getting from them is only an illusion, and you're going to end up getting the darker side of that as well. They're going to end up feeding on you. You're surrendering yourself, and that's what some of the people I know are going through right now. All right, Tuesday's energy, please. Tuesday's energy, and thank you. I want to edify you by teaching as we go on. Legus. Legus, there it is. This is their letter L, and this is found in the third and final it. It basically talks about those things which are, of a watery nature. And in terms of the four elements, that also implies intuition, extrasensory perception, and those types of, abilities. And each one of us has the ability, especially if we've raised our vibration to a certain point, to manifest these types of abilities and skills. Now, some people may seemingly be born with them, and that could be from, getting some dharma from previous successes in previous lives, things of that nature. That's one way of potentially looking at it. Others, by, going through your lessons, learning them and moving forward and raising your vibration at the same time, you can actually get to a point where these types of things, these abilities, can be manifest in each and every one of us. And we're going to see more and more of these kinds of things happening in our world today. He's raising up an army. There's an army being raised right now. And I hope that those who are out there watching me are among us. If you are a spy, that's okay. Maybe you'll learn too. Wednesday energy, please. Wednesday energy. What is the energy for Wednesday? Thank you. Wednesday energy. Othala. Now that was the overall energy for last week. Okay. So this is often associated with the moon goddess, although the Norse believe that it is the man in the moon. It's a masculine deity, as did the Sumerians at one time. Now it's gone back and forth depending on the gods and goddesses who were given domain over that. And that's a whole nother story. I'm not going to get into mythology. But Othala is another positive rune. It's actually, depending on which group of, writers and researchers that you look at, it could be either the second or the last, second to the last runes in the it, okay? And it's the letter O in their alphabet. And it means this, again, inheritances, legacies, estates, homes, house, dwellings, ancestry, ancestral property, and also material property, and success within legal matters. So very, very positive, especially if you are going through or will be going through some type of a court battle. So far, so good. We got a warning at the beginning of the week, but we have some very, very positive and powerful runes also to fall back on this week. Thursday's energy, please. Thursday's energy, thank you. Thursday's energy, thank you. What is Thursday's energy? All right, this one wanted to come out. Malthus. Now, we had this one last week, too. Malthus talks about needs, necessities. It tells us about barriers, obstacles, things of that nature. But what it really is talking about, it's like a yin and yang, like I've talked about in many previous readings. It talks about, finally, the harvesting of the fruits of your earlier labors. Okay, that's what it's talking about. So if you put energy into something and you have yet to see the manifestation of that, this is telling you that it's on its way. Okay, another positive rune. All right, Friday's energy, please. What is Friday's energy this week? The week of the 29th of June through the 5th of July. What is Friday's energy, please? All right, well, okay. Perthro. Perthro is the rune for today. It's their letter P. I know it doesn't look like a P, but it is. And this can be used magically along with the one that we pulled out for Tuesday, which is Legus. And basically what it means, Perthro, basically is talking about the games of chance. Things hidden, feminine qualities, traits, and attributes, the divine feminine in a sense. Talks about intuition again, creativity, extrasensory abilities, nurturing, the things that are considered, the feminine aspect of our makeup. So it's a very positive rune. And again, we are here to balance both our masculine and our feminine. I know some would disagree, but that is my overall truth from what I have seen, read, and I feel through my meditations. All right, what is Saturday, please? What is the energy for Saturday? We close this reading off. Energy for Saturday, and thank you. Energy for Saturday, next Saturday, or this coming Saturday. All right. Well, this is Ewas. Ewas. Or E. Ewas. EHWAZ. But it's in the reverse. I know it looks like an upside down M or a W, perhaps. What that means is long journeys. Okay, and it's certainly been a long journey for me. It's been at least the last 5 straight years that I've been going through a lot of these things. It's hello again. You keep checking up on me. I'm sorry the food status hasn't changed since the last 30 seconds. Let's see. He talks about changes, talks about timing and feeling confined and restricted, perhaps. Having a feeling of mistrust. I've gone through all of these, certainly, and even this week alone. So, it's something that we have to basically look at. It's part of our shadow work, and the shadow work never stops. You're always doing it. You're always reflecting on your feelings, the things that you're more or less facing or having to face right now as far as your challenges, as well as your victories. And look at the lessons in there. There's always a lesson to be learned, okay? All right, so with that being said, and just shy of 25 minutes, we're going to go ahead and close it off. I will do a reading for Sunday, and I will post that one. And then we will, draw some tarot cards and things of that nature to go along with it as well, okay? So, as always, peace, and I'll see y'all in Valhalla.